This area right here is where it starts with Vicky, Brandon, and Douglas. And then they say it also has Lola. And then they said over here, they said Corday and Cash is out here too. But it doesn't have, in this part here, they said it's just, it's Vicky, Brandon, Douglas. And they tried to put Lola in there, and they couldn't. But you see where it stops at? Do you see where it stops at? This is the end of the top of their casket. This is the head of the casket. This right here is their faces, starting with Vicky's face. No, it's going to be Douglas. It's Brandon, Vicky. No, it's Douglas, Brandon, Vicky. Because they was out here for Douglas's funeral, because he had went off and killed my kids and me December 3rd of 2015. So is there any here? They was like, that's just it. They didn't have no room, because he's got a little casket. And his casket is still there. But do you see where these caskets go that away, and there's some this away? But these last caskets came this away, and then the first ones went like that. There's 3 in each stack, 2 in those stacks. And I appreciate that guy telling me, and it comes up killing me. And so they said they tried. They said this is where they started lining up. They's like, they couldn't. They's like, but this is where they tried to line up Summer's kids at. Whose grave is this? Who's in here? They said, now watch it, because Corday and Cash are out here as infants. This is Merle's stick. Is he really in there? They said he's in there. Why is it loose? Who else did they stack? They said Donna Itzatuppy and Merle Stick's wife. They're going to try to say his kids. But it's Donna Itzatuppy on the top, Merle Stick, and then Merle Stick's wife. Oh, Daddy, sorry. Draven. They said, you see where it's Draven Trey Miller. This is where Carrie's Trey was built off of this name right here. And then you see where he wanted to be the Terry, like Terry Davis, and he wanted to claim Hell's Vines, as well as Draven Trey also tried this. We're talking about Draven. Dana's little boy also had tried this. That's why he didn't. He came in the date at the 11th. He passed away on the 10th, same day as my brother's birthday. And he had his funeral my baby's saying October 18th. But anyways, it's Dana and all her aborted babies, plus Jaden when she was little, plus Jasmine. And they've got Draven in there with Dana murdering him. Now, who's in this besides Martin Stick? And he's like, this is all Martin Stick's grave. I remember saying that. Now, who's this? Eliza Veen, and Eliza Veen's mom, and Eliza Veen's brother. The mom's on bottom, then the brother, then Eliza Veen. Charles, and then all of Charles's kids, all of his wants that he wanted and wants that he didn't ever have. You see where it says January 10th of 74 to May 30th of 1993? He passed away a week before May 30th. And that's what Martin Jr. and C-Stick and Eliza Bean and Louita thought that they was doing to Vicky, because they killed Vicky on her birthday. And they thought they was doing something. Now this is supposed to be Martin Stick. They said watch it. They was like, because it's Martin Stick Sr., Martin Stick Jr., and Martin Stick Jr. Oh, it says Earl Stick. Oops. But you walked on the same casket and you said it. So then it's Earl Stick, Martin C. Stick, Martin C. Stick Jr., and Martin C. Stick Jr. This is going to be Martin C. Stick Jr., Martin C. Stick Jr., Charles, Martin C. Stick Jr. And there's always going to be another, like their babies are in there too. But we can only do 3 caskets to a grave. And we're not even, people ain't even supposed to do that. It is supposed to be individual caskets is what is supposed to be in there. And they said, this is where Monty Stick is at. They said, this is where, they said Daryl Lee Jones' child is on bottom. Then it's Daryl Lee Jones, then Monty Stick, and then Nigel. But it's going to come up that it's one of Nigel's kids. That Monty Stick wasn't even supposed to be out here, but he wanted to be so close to his uncle. And you see where it says July 21st of 2022, December 19th of 1985. Again, this is where they call themselves trying to come at Lawana with, you know, with their wants and stuff. And this bench wasn't out here the last time I was here. Okay, so now I'm going to try to find Louita and Lenny's grave, as well as Charles Stick's grave, where he was put in sideways. And this is what Myron Sean Johnson, this is what my Uncle Harley is in trouble for. And see, it's August 12th, 1975 to February 2nd of 2019. And he named his child Myron Sean. And we're not going to even get into all these sticks, and they won't. And who do we say about this? Lenny's in there. And this is supposed to be Linda Daggs, who has been DEAD for many years. You see where they tried to have her date of funeral service on my daddy's date. I'm sorry, her date of death on my daddy's date of death. This is what they call themselves, thinking they could reach me first. And the thing about it, that bitch didn't hit shit but a brick wall. Louita's grave is in here somewhere. They's like, you're standing on top of Lenny's grave. They say, you see where it don't even line up correctly? They's like, Lenny's almost does. But Louita's grave is over here somewhere. And that guy over there, he's like, what'd I say? And them seconders, we're not even going to get started on them. They're more throw-ins that ain't even supposed to be out here. You see where this says Retha? And she was at Homer's funeral here the other day. And her name is Retha. She goes by Hamilton sometimes, but Wings. And it's something else, because they didn't have the same parents. Her and her sister Shorty. And they said it's Retha, Shorty, and Marvin Lynn in this one. Right? Wasn't she supposed to be? Yep. They's like, that's just it. They's like, sis didn't come out here and check when Marvin Lynn had passed away, but I asked where she was at here the other day. But anyways, Lenny is right here. Lenny's right here. You see my foot? And then Charles Wayne, the grave I was showing y'all earlier, he's sitting in this motherfucker sideways. His first casket or third casket is sitting sideways in this motherfucking grave right here. And so you got Louita here. And then Charles Wayne sitting sideways in Lenny's casket up underneath her. Now, this is what people have to understand. Because it's not something that a man can do. Not just a man, you know, a man-made man. This is something me and my kids have to do. And this is something that my daddy's had to come out and help me with. As well as my mom has. And my kids were the ones that was giving me description on my way back from Norman and Enid today. And it looks like it says Bessie or Bet or Betty. But this is where Charlie's mom thought she was built off of. And this is from 1949 to 2022. It says 99 to 2022. And I know these graves, but I have to wait for my parents and my kids to give me a description, because it would take me all day to come out here and talk about these graves. You see what I'm saying? Like this Minnie Shields, she is no relation to my family. None whatsoever. My mama has a grandma named Minnie Shields. This woman is no relation at all. You see where this Charles Wayne Shields came from? No relation. He got his name from Martin C. Jr.'s child, Charles Wayne. Now, Harlan Shields, know the name, but I can't recognize his face right off the top. But now, it comes up on Ancestry.com that Charles Wayne Stick passed away in a fire in a hotel downtown Ada. And I asked my mama about it. And she said she never heard of it. Charles Wayne Stick. And I'm like, ain't this your nephew? Like, how come I don't know about this fire? Now I have to read up again what year it was, but it was in the 70s. It was either 73 or 76 or maybe even 77. But it was a year that I know, like, it should have been recognized throughout the family. And so I didn't get a chance to myself to ask any family if that had happened, if that was him, as far as my mama's side of the family. But that's why his casket is sideways. No, they said Charles Wayne is buried way back there. They said he out there way by himself. They was like, and it's a regular man-sized casket like what he was buried in. He's like, and it shrunk. They was like, when he dissipated, it shrunk. He's like, that's why it's unmarked back there. They's like, but it's back there. They's like, and nobody can be put on it or be buried in it. He's like, but it has his kids in it, his wife, his wanted wife, his girlfriend. He's like, Charles Wayne lived up to whatever age that said it was, and then he died, and then we brought him back at 4 years old, or 2 and 3 and 4, and he died every year up until the age of 19, when we was just like, this boy ain't never gonna seek forgiveness. But there was some years that we didn't see him. And they like, he was DEAD, and the only time he was allowed to see us was when we would come down to Grandma Stick's, and he wasn't allowed down there all the time either. And they said that's why Grandma Stick was cussing us. And they was like, and Charles Wayne wasn't even Grandma Stick's, he wasn't even Martin's. I remember saying that part. They was like, yeah, he wasn't even Martin C's. He didn't look nothing like Martin. They said, okay, so where's Rod and Ashley and Brad? They was like, right there in the middle. I remember saying that when he was out here riding that mower. Like, we're going to put his ass right there in the middle. Him and his 3 wants and his brat. But he's got his Ashley, Rod. Look here, people. I'm sorry, Daddy. Let me hold the phone. It's Ashley, Rod, Brad, and then they had Maggie's feet down here, but now this is Maggie's head. This is his little girl Maggie's head. Rod is a cousin wants to be a brother to my mama. Sorry. And you see where That's fresh. Who's here? Guess who? That's Tammy. Damn. And then Christy. And all their little ones. Ain't that some shit? So this is his ex-wife. That's his daughter with his newest wife. And then that's his newest wife right there. And then him and his two favorite. Where's Chris? They said, good. He's not buried over here? They said he was a little big. He's back here. They said, you see where they had to drag him in? This is Chris. This is Chris Stick. And he's a big boy. They said, this is how we've been measuring. You can hear that guy helping me talk. They said, this is how we've been measuring the graves. They said, this is how you know the smaller I get. Oh, I just stepped on her toes. But ain't that some shit? Anyways, the cemetery is full. But they said Charles Wayne is buried. Uh-oh, Daddy, sorry. They said Charles Wayne is buried way out there in the back, like up underneath that darkest area back there. They said, and sometimes you can see him standing out there. That guy over there, his family said, that guy's family said sometimes you can see Charles Wayne and his family standing out there, as well as Eliza Bean and even Elmay. They said Elmay's got a grave back there. He's like, I don't know why she called herself trying to be buried up there by Red Springs. And he's like, don't forget, Daryl Jones is in the bottom down here. Daryl, and Little D. There's 6 motherfuckers, 7 stacked in this one here, if you're counting his little boy. Sorry, I wasn't trying to do that. He's like, they said that's why it's so narrow. He's like, it's deep. They said deep. And now why would he be involved with this? They got lined up at that shit, but he wanted to be out here. And he know he wasn't supposed to. And he's all, yeah, but I made it though, didn't I? Motherfucker, you ain't made a shit. Anyways, a lot of these graves are going to be pulled up and burned. A lot of them. And we might do it out there. Because I don't want to be taking all this stuff into town. That is interesting. Okay, we got one more. Who? Mine? Where are they at? Are they marked? They're back here? There's that, damn it. It is 4:12. You're going to be looking for me. Like, I thought you was just going to the cemetery. And I did hear when my son said that Sasha was helping him do his recording while he marked out the graves and stuff for these people. They said, where's the prettiest? He's like, that's where Justice, Braylon, Lux, Lylan. It's Rylan. I do remember seeing that. He's like, they took it up. He's like, but this here, this is all me and my family, me and my kids, plus my parents and my brothers. They said out there is where Vicky and us is laid at. And we're talking about my grandbaby Rylan having a headstone out here that Martin C. Stick Sr. tried to call himself doing. And you see where he's got graves out here, Martin C. Stick. Anything that said Merle or Martin C. on it, he marked his own graves. But they said this is where me and my mama are buried at, as well as my kids and my brothers. But it shows me and my mama as single, like as together and single. And then it shows me with my kids. And you can see my baby's picture, his face come up in here. They's like, but they's like, if you counted it, they's like, Crystal, they's like, it goes back. They's like, from the physicality rodeos, they's like, they said it just keeps going. And I kind of remember asking them to put me not next to him, but close to Charles Wayne, so I could whoop his ass. And you see where these Johnsons, this Truman, Senior Johnson, and Jamel or Aramel or Caramel Johnson, I don't know what it says. They're not even supposed to be out here either. They said, my baby grave is under there. And then when I talk about my baby grave, I'm talking about graves that I had before my babies were born. Where my babies have always been with me. Oh, excuse me. They said, that's just it. They's like, I'm walking on my caskets. They's like, but that's just it. One of my heads is up here. And then it's going to be Vicky. And then another one of me here. And then it starts growing with my babies. And my daddy and my brothers. And they, children and my brothers and sisters that no one has met physicality on this side. And my daddy said it's me and one of my sisters that I've never, like I said, that I've never met of physicality that I remember meeting. That I don't remember meeting my siblings. But they said we got a grave out here and in Sasakwa. He's like, as well as everywhere else that we done talked about. He's like, this is how they do know that I got a sister, because I would talk to her sometimes. He's like, and we fought. I'm like, not bad. She says, you gotta remember, I am your sister. He's like, but I'm not losing a fight either. He's like, and it does come up where I'm like, I'm telling you, I'm jealous. Like, it's not that you're not supposed to be here. It's just, I'm the only girl. And she's like, no, there's two of us, because I'm the girl now, and I'm the only girl. But she was just teasing. One more. But our graves again? Justice's grave? He ain't got no grave out here by himself. Me and mom's is in everything. It's like, they said it's right here. They was like, and that's when they was calling themselves trying to blame us. They was like, but it was Douglas that shot us. They was like, that's when Mama fell in. They was like, and Braylon was like, what do you, Mama? And I told him, I was like, Justice is dead. He was like, I know. He's like, but he's still here. He's like, he just walked in the house. I was like, my baby is dead. And he's like, are you talking about me? I was like, we're all dead. And this is where my daddy has came out and literally helped my kids and me hand dig my baby's graves. My baby was telling me, my baby Justice was telling me, and it's Telling, that this is his grave right here. And then my grave over here, like right next, like tap to the casket of my baby. And then Braylon's grave is right here, and you can see his arm tap next to my baby's. And I didn't want my babies to be next to those people. And so my babies are letting me know that we're right here. We're right here. It's me, my baby Justice, and my baby's babies, known as my grandkids. And then my Braylon right here. And he's like, they've been out here trying to make it look like we've been steroiding. And he's like, and that was all them won'ts plus sashing them. Because they're trying to stack our graves out here is what they're trying to do. They's like, so there's two caskets of Braylon and Braylon's babies, 2 caskets of my Justice and my Justice's babies. Remember, Braylon is my baby. And 2 caskets of me and my babies. They's like, well, why does this one feel so light? Why does mine feel so light? And this one's not, this one's a little heavy, and this one's heavy. They was like, because by this time they was like, Sis, Justice, Braylon, and Paul, and Brandon, and Douglas are all in this casket with Braylon. Did I say Justice too? And Lux. This is one of my daddy's caskets. This Willie Emmett Byers, he's not even supposed to be out here. His casket area does not go that big, but they tried it. But this is one of my daddy's casket areas. that he was murdered with me and my children. And so he was buried out here with us. And we got him, his head is up here. His head is up here and his feet is at my head. And you can see my baby boy Justice's head right there. I don't want to step over there, but we will be pulling these caskets up. They won't be burned. They's like, and I apologize, but they's like, no, that's what they tried. They's like, they's like, the casket for us cuts off right here. And we're all in it. They's like, there is like damn near 10 caskets right here of me and my children. There's 8 right here of me and my children. And there's 7 right here of me and my children. They's like, but the lighter they're getting, it's showing that we're coming up. We're coming up out of these graves. Out of these graves. Out of these graves. And I do remember saying some of that. Come on. He's like, we done been out here every night pulling my babies. Me and my babies been pulling each other. Come on. Out, out, up, up, out. Come on. Come on. I'm only here getting mines. And mines only. Come on. Come on. Up. Come on. Come on. Come on. I'm not taking nobody but mines. Come on. 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 Not taking nobody's but mine. Whew. Yeah. He don't like blaming me. He knows what these things are out here. And that guy was also helping. He's on a side-by-side. I ain't been up in there since I was a kid with Vicky and Eugene. Oh, me and Nana rode up there once and turned around. He's like, and they shot us. Oh, they stay off of our property. He's like, we done came back out here and handled their asses. Like, you stay in the car. He's like, I told my mama, you stay in the car. And I told my kids, y'all stay in the car. Because I'm fixing to go up in this motherfucker. He's like, yeah. But he thinks he wants to be a Roger. This guy, yeah, he wants to be this guy. That's why he's been back there trying to post up. And he says he was killed during the same time Charles Wayne was killed. And he says it was 76. So we'll look. But even if it was, it's still within that time frame. Anywhere from 73 to 76. And he's trying to say 72 to 77, but it's 73 to 76. I remember saying that. But anyways, when he shot us out there, we took our bodies like this. Like, he ain't getting a casket out of us. He comes out hollering, talking about, how am I supposed to get a casket? How am I going to get a casket out of it? Hell, yo. It's like, we got you one right there in your front yard. And he's like, his whole family, 3 of them was lined up in the front yard. And I remember seeing them when we went up there. But that's just it. I remember, my kids remember this too. My mama's, that house that we're talking about, my mama's grandparents used to live back there. And she said her grandma, but it comes up both of her grandparents, but the grandma killed the grandpa. And he's like, no, that's just what they wanted. The grandpa died of old age, but the grandma, she pretty much committed suicide. She like quit eating and taking pills, and she did it with a gun. And that's where Vicky has been spirit hopped by her grandma. Because Vicky, she knew about her grandma and stuff, but she kind of forgot that the grandma had killed herself. And she apparently forgot that the grandma had killed her and murdered her and brutalized her. And, you know, chopped her up, buried her wherever she could do it at. And every time my mama would be back, because she was kind of like us, you know, she was like, I got to go back. That's my grandma. Like, you know, I understand why she's like that, because it's a generational curse. But her grandma got it from her grandpa. Which makes it even worse when Vicky sits up there and bows to this shit and opens up doors that have been closed, that she shouldn't be fucking with these things, such as her grandma and her grandpa. And we're saying these things because They were evil. They wasn't evilly built, but that's how they became. From living out there in them fucking country-ass woods and not doing anything. But they did have to live out there because they had murdered their whole family. Both her grandparents murdered both their entire family, like their immediate family. Both their grandparents, both of Nana's grandparents murdered their siblings and their parents and cousins, uncle, anybody that came in the house, they killed them. It's like there's been a lot of killings back there due to Vicky's grandparents, but it shows her grandma doing the most of it because she was the last one living. Ain't that something? They was like, and that house is a newer Indian home. They was like, so that tells you how long they was allowed to live. They said she didn't die till 79, and I remember her telling me that. So she's seen Brandon, and we know she's seen us, but she didn't get to see us when we was born in 1980. And I remember saying that.